Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to the review of a beautiful Italian desk pen from the late 1930s. Today we are going to talk about a beautiful Columbus pen, a desk pen which I recently bought from the town of Iași, Romania. I paid for this Columbus pen 250 leis, the equivalent of 50.24 euros or 52.61 US dollars. And for this money, I got the Columbus desk pen in its original package, but also this Pelican 400NN with a broken celluloid body and a missing gold nib, which I bought for spare parts. So quite a lovely deal, both of them costing me around 50 euros. Let me put this aside and let me show you initially the original package, which is quite well preserved for all those years. And I have something similar from Omas, but this is, I believe, an earlier one from the 1950s, I presume. And you can see they are quite similar in this point of view. Let me put the Omas here. And let me show you the back of the Columbus. Unfortunately, I don't have the original leaflet, but you can see that it is stored quite nice. It has those two protective materials here and the ending here. Because it has this material, I presume it could be an earlier version, not from the 1930s, but rather the beginning of the 1950s. I'm not so sure, but if you have ideas about the production date of this particular Columbus Extra 14, just leave it in the comments. Speaking about the brand Columbus, let me give a little bit of a history lesson. Practically, the Columbus manufacturer is one of the great Italian pen manufacturers. It was founded in 1918 by Alfredo and Eugenio Verga in Milan, and it was originally called Alfredo Verga and Brother Company. Their brand was Columbus. In 1924, the Columbus trademark was registered with the Italian Ministry of Industry with the number 2, as you can see here, 23247. In the same year, in 1924, they added the word extra to the initial brand of Columbus. In 1927, the brothers went their separate ways, and Alfredo founded Omega, and Eugenio continued alone with Columbus until his death in 1957. The desk pens of Columbus were very popular in Italy, and they sold in large quantities. This particular Columbus Extra, identified by the number 14, was the expensive one, and there were also some desk pens known as Columbuses, which were cheaper and identified by the number 12. Interesting about this pen and dating this pen is the inscriptions on the gold nib. And we can see, first of all, we have a round breathing hole, which means that this nib was produced in Italy. In the beginning of the company, they outsourced their gold nibs. They were actually produced in Germany and personalized with Columbus brand, but the German ones had a heart-shaped breathing hole. This particular nib has Columbus written in italic, extra, and 152. And what is interesting, we have the gold purity indicated in parts per thousand, with the number 585 engraved in this diamond shape here. And actually, this means that this nib is older than 1935, because they added this 585 since onward from 1935. This is one of the reason I can tell that this is from the late 1930s. It could be even newer, but I presume that this material is not plastic and in fact is celluloid. If it's not celluloid and it is thermically injected plastic, it could be from the 1950s, but based on the lever filling mechanism, I believe that this is a late 1930s product. It is an interesting and quite elegant writing instrument. This part over here, you can take it off like this. And of course, being a desk pen, we don't have a cap to it. You can hold it in your desk like this, but not in this one. It needs a large diameter to hold like this. And it is a fountain pen and not a deep pen, because we have this lever filling mechanism, so it holds its own ink. Let me show you. On this particular piece, we have Columbus and Extra 14, the trademark 23247, which is present on other models of Columbus fountain pens, and also the beautiful gold nib, which is rather large. I can say it's a number 5 or even a number 6 nib. I'm not so sure what 152 stands for. Maybe 5 from a number 5 nib, I'm not so sure. But a beautiful nib and a quite large nib. In fact, let me compare it with a modern nib I have here. So I have here a Montblanc 146 from 1983, a modern one. I don't know, it looks like a number 6 nib, but it could be a number 5 nib. We'll definitely check it out. And what is rather interesting and beautiful in my point of view is this beautiful ebonite feeder, which reminds me of the ski slope type feeder from Montblanc. Let me see if I have one to show you. And yes, my friends, I have one 46 from the beginning of the 1950s, a Montblanc. And this is the feeder I'm talking about. Let me compare the two feeders. And yes, my friends, looking at the nib, definitely this is a number 6 nib and this is a number 5 nib. But I wanted to show you the wonderful feeder, the Italian ebonite feeder, which is quite similar to the Montblanc feeder. Very interesting. Okay, my friends, let me put the Montblanc, the vintage Montblanc aside. By the way, just as an information, look at the difference between a modern 146 and a vintage one in terms of size. I believe that the nibs are similar, although we have a 14 gold nib in 2 colors and we have an 18 karat gold nib in the other version, so the nibs are, in my point of view, the same. Okay, I think, no, this is the modern one and this is the vintage one. Returning to our beautiful Columbus, I'm quite curious about the nib. I've just noticed that this nib has the times misaligned right on the top. Let me do the flexibility test right over here. So it is a pretty flexible nib, but with the flexible nibs usually we have the problems with the tines. Again, a wonderful pen. Now I will leave the dimension of this beautiful pen on the screen, and after that I will change the angle of the camera and we will do a writing sample with it. For the writing sample I will use this Pelikan 4001 Königsbrau Royal Blue ink, but I believe that probably this was never used and I won't fill it up with ink. The principle is simple, my friends. You can take this like this, and it has an ink sac and it draws ink by the vacuum created by the lever. But for the sake of preserving it, I will just dip it in ink and we will do the writing sample. Okay, I will change the angle of the camera, my friends, for you to see better the writing sample, like this. I have here the paper. Let me put it like this, okay. And I have here the ink. We will give it a little shake like this. I will open it like this. I will dip the pen in ink. Okay, let me remove the excess of the ink. Let's see if I have a little tissue. Yes, I have the tissue here. So I hope that the feeder will retain enough ink for the writing sample. So just remove the excess of the ink and the excess of the ink from the grip section. By the way, my friends, like a design feature, I love the concave ending of the grip section. It's very, very nice. So, okay. What do I have here, my dear friends? Let me zoom a little bit. I have a Columbus. Actually, I don't like the way it has the ink of the flow of ink, so I will dip it again. And again, my friends, I hope that I can zoom a little bit. Let me see, for you to see better. So let's see. Again, let me retry Columbus. Actually, you can see it has the ink. So okay, let me try again. Columbus Extra 14, fitted with a 14 karat 585 gold nib. Judging by the way it writes, I believe it's an extra fine one. It writes very, very sharp, and it even scratches a little bit. We'll see how it performs. Okay, again, I don't like the ink flow. I'm just dipping it in ink. So Columbus Extra 14 karat 585 gold nib. I believe that this is from the late 1930s and a beautiful pen made in Italy. As I've shown you on the nail test, it is a flexible nib. I hope that it will show its flexibility. Yes, and you can see the differences between the pressure when I put on the nib. So we have a little flexible gold nib. Okay, as you probably can see, I'm not so pleased with the juiciness of this nib. You can see no juice to it. Now I should do the line variance test. So here no pressure, and here I'm starting to apply pressure, and you can see, although we don't have large flow of ink, it is a little difference between the lines. So again, the little nib variance is present. This should be a fine signature piece. Let me see how we can do a signature with it. And you can see it performs quite nice. Sincerely, I'm disappointed because of the ink flow. I'm not so sure. I am tempted to fill it up with ink, but I really resist this temptation because I'm not so sure the ink sac, if it's calcinated or if it needs to be replaced. So I prefer to just dip the pen in ink and continue to do my writing sample. I'm curious enough if it can reverse write. So let me see. Reverse writing. And I'm quite impressed. In reverse, it simply has a better inflow, and in reverse writing it writes like an F in comparison with the simple extra fine. So interesting. The first time I've seen this happen to me on a pen. Okay, reverse writing, definitely a capability. It doesn't scratch in reverse writing, and it even, we have an F in reverse in comparison with the extra fine it usually writes. Now I'm ready to tell you about the Fox, and I will write as large as I can. Let me see. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. What can I tell you, my friends? I'm not a fan of this particular nib. I'm not so sure if the fault is the fact that I only dip it in ink. I'm trying to, let's do a large dipping, and let's see if we have another result. So again, the same, the quick brown, I'm dipping it again. Fox jumps over the lazy dog. Not my cup of tea, my friends. I need a large ink flow to feel nice when I do a writing sample. It doesn't seem we have a juicy nib. The feeder seems alright. Not so sure of the actual problem. But maybe it is not a problem. Maybe I'm not accustomed with an extra fine nib. So it is what it is, my friends. It it certainly you need to get used to this kind of a nib. But again, a lovely pen, a lovely part of the Italian fountain pen industry. I'm quite pleased that I got it with this wonderful original pack, and it is a nice addition to my collection. This was its review, my friends. I'm certainly disappointed it writes like this. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't scratch, but not my cup of tea. I prefer a juicier nib or a broader nib, but it is what it is. This was its review, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you again in the next episode. Till then, bye bye, and God bless you all, my dear friends.